Cars heading out on track in Marrakesh for the second of our 3 qualifying sessions. Just had the open Q1 session. The big news is that Morocco's Mehdi Benani has not made it through into Q2. Tried some changes on the setup of his Sébastien Loeb Racing Citroën C-Élysée, the car that won the opening race 2 weeks ago in Hungary. And they did not yield the results. Now, whether that was that the setup just wasn't producing the balance of the car they quite hoped for, or whether Mehdi didn't have enough time to get his head around it and really find the advantage, somewhere between the two, it fell down the cracks in the floorboards. And Harry Folkard, 14th for both races, unless there are penalties or failures in front of him, means Sunday's going to be a long day.
It will be. It's a real kick in the teeth for him, that. And pretty unfortunate, but it's also not where he's been running. You know, in the 2 free practices this morning, he was running 8th and 10th, and that's where he finished. And you know, I think everyone held their hopes on the fact that he might have got through there. But yeah, sometimes that's motorsport, isn't it? I know it's a bit cliche saying that, but it unfortunately doesn't always go your way, and tends to be on the days where you need it to.
8th or 10th would have been very handy indeed. It would have meant that in the opening race he'd have been in the first 2 or 3 cars, and that's exactly where you would like to be. All right, the second race a little bit difficult, but you know, the opening race, it gives you something anyway. 14th doesn't give you much. That's where he'll start for both races.
So what do you think lap time wise? Do you think we're going to see a 19, or do you think that's a little bit optimistic? We're down in the 21.7, I think, was fastest lap.
21.750, the quickest lap we've had so far, but Jose Maria Lopez usually finds a little bit more in Q2 and then a bit more again in Q3.
Yeah, I think 19 is optimistic. I think we might see maybe a very low 21.
Wow, that is a very quick first sector, though. Ivan Muller behind him has just gone 1,700 slower in Sector 1 alone. So this is Pachito aiming to be some 4 tenths ahead of Muller if he keeps up that amount of gap. And
from the rear end.
Muller is second, no, second quickest, in fact, is Thiago Monteiro. 28.68, so only 400s slower than Lopez. Montero with a really good first sector. Oh, and Montero finds more pace than Lopez. Look at those splits.
Oh, it's a big chunk as well.
It's a massive second sector. Lopez continues at pace. Whoa, 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 whoa. Gets it to turn nicely. 1:21.65. That's the quickest lap we've seen, 1:21.46. That's Montero. Muller's third quickest at 22.2, 7 tenths away. Huff and Michelis goes top, 1:21.463. Coronel ended second free practice, fastest of all by a quarter of a second. That's a 22.1, which is still half a second slower than he went in free practice. Mind you, the track temperature is about 10 degrees higher. James Thompson aiming for a top 5 in his second ever Chevrolet drive. And that was 7th, is now 8th.
This is where we're going to see the real pace of these things coming out, isn't it?
Yeah. And this is Tomo's second lap, actually. He's pushing on for another one. Aboard Huffy, this is his second lap, and this is better. Oh, no.
Slightly overcommitted on the brakes there.
Yep.
Just maybe 2 meters too late.
That was better than his first lap in the first sector. As you can see, he's gone green, not better than Norby's. Second sector will be back in the black, I think. Can't go that deep into a... Yeah, there you go, look, he's bailed right out of that one. Allow Norby to go by. And whether he will... Don't play cock thinking about making a comment and didn't. Whether Huffy will now cycle through this lap and then build up to speed at the end of it to try for another hot one. Yeah, it's not an awful lot of lap to bring your tyres back in on that easy.
Back in, maybe to go for a fresher set of tyres.
Rob's mum and dad here as well. Ted Björk. Wonder if there's a chance we'll get Björk's Volvo into the top 5. Teammate Fredrik Ekblom didn't make it through into Q3. He'll start 13th for both races. Into Q2 rather.
Yeah, everyone's coming in. we always see usually on normal circuits that you get one real fast lap out of your tyres. Historically here, you've been able to get 2 laps because of the nature of the old circuit, where there was no real long high loading corners, but the new circuit has a couple more faster corners, so tyre degradation is slightly higher, and obviously the temperatures increased a lot substantially from this morning, so we're obviously seeing one lap is your 1 lap hit with your tyre now.
7th place, ahead of Hugo Valente. And at the moment, Nicky Katzberg and Tom Chilton, who hasn't set a lap, will start 11th and 12th, which will be where they are for both races. Don't forget, the top 10, which is completed with the fastest 5 after Q3, are inverted for the opening race grid. So if you're 10th at the end of Q3, you are the pole man for the opening race. And right now, as at the end of FP2, Gabriele Tarquini 10th, James Thompson 9th.
Nicholas and Montero have been pretty much on identical times in both FP1, FP2, and now obviously qualifying too.
Yeah, they're currently 4 thousandths of a second apart. What did they finish apart at the end? They were 3 thousandths of a second apart at the end of free practice 1 and 2. So the total gap between them has been less than 5 thousandths of a second on their fastest laps.
And taking it in turns as well over who leads the way.
And how is that even remotely possible, that 2 very different drivers with presumably different setups on the car come within 5 thousandths of a second in 3 consecutive sessions?
I wonder how different their setups are. You know, perhaps it'll be something for Alex to ask later on if there's a bit of time.
I don't know. That's going to be very interesting to see. Half the cars in the pits, half the cars out on track. Second session of qualifying is halfway through here on the street circuit in Marrakesh. Don't forget, on street tracks, we go from a 20-minute Q1 and a 10-minute Q2 to a 30-minute Q1 and a 20-minute Q2 to give the drivers, 15 minutes rather, to give the drivers a little bit more time to deal with the inevitable potential stoppages or yellow flags that street circuits often bring. You saw Nick Clipson talking on the radio to his driver Tom Chilton, the only 2 Anglophones in the Sebastian Loeb racing operation. They converse exclusively in English, everybody else pretty much exclusively in French. So Chilton 0.48 away. This might be a 9th or 8th place run if he can keep the kind of progress going that he's made in the first sector.
Montero, personal best, sector 1.
Here's the man who was fastest in FP2 by a quarter of a second, Tom Coronel, scaring the wall a little bit there.
That's that toe out on the rear that we were talking about earlier. You could see the back still rotating on the exit of the corner.
Yeah. He's saying particularly into corner 3. He said, I'm getting turning oversteer in corner 3, which is scaring the willies out of him. Chilton 1.08 away, 1.2 away is James Thompson in 9th, so this would be for a front row start. Goes 9th, Thompson 10th. That would be a very interesting
good front
opening race, front row, yeah. 2 former teammates at Vauxhall. In fact, did they race together at Vauxhall?
No,
their careers overlap. I don't think they did they? I think I'm wrong there.
I think Thompson was in Honda DTCC when Chilton was with Vauxhall. Oh, you can hear the front wheels locking up there.
Yeah. Katzberg really hustling it there, wasn't he, through turn 1.
Good lap though, P5.
Yep. See, again, there's not been a race weekend where Katzberg hasn't shown all the ability to get into Q3. He's not always made it, but he's definitely got the ability.
I wonder what Huffy can do, because he had a bit of a disappointing first run for Rob.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely got more left in him and in the car, so let's see how he gets on. We saw him lock up a couple of times, and I think that cost him, so this could be telling as to how he's going to fare for the rest of qualifying.
Chilton's 11th, by the way, courtesy of that lap. So this is to try and get himself into the top 10 and doesn't make it. Tyres didn't have enough left in it. Okay, it's a 1 minute 25, 1 minute 30 maybe lap back into the pits. Then he'll have another 1 minute 30 to get back to the line. That'd
be very tight.
That'll leave a minute to change the tyres, and you know, almost without doubt, Sod's Law says, as he comes into the pit lane, he'll be whisked into the weighbridge.
Yeah, I think unless they've opted out, because he seems to have backed off. You know, I'm sure if his intention was to come in and get back out again, he'd be fully lit on his way in now.
Well, Huffy is fully lit. Tarquini appears to have bailed as well. He's in the pits. There's 4 minutes remaining. I think Tarquini is in trouble. I think Chilton is done. Thompson 10th, Valente 9th.
Huffy's a 10th down in sector 1. Sector 2 is not quite good enough either. 3 tenths off, 2 tenths off.
This is where the Hondas think we've got the pace to be on pole, and all three of their drivers want to be the man who gets that pole position. Because with pole, not only do you get 5 championship points, which all helps to clean things up, tighten things up a little bit, but also when it gets to the main race, you have the best shot at running down to the first corner and being in front.
Where Huffy is, if he was to stay in around that area after Q3, then that wouldn't be the end of the world if he could stay around there. It's a great point scoring position. You are potentially in a bit of the melee, but you're always, if you can stay in that top 3-4 area, it's not a bad place to sit.
Now, I was about to write this lap by Ivan Muller off because he was a black first sector, which means not even a personal best. The second sector is, will this put him into the top 5 at the expense of Nicky Katzberg? He comes across the line 6th, so it doesn't. He does bump Tom Coronel down, but it's just a swapping of positions. So he goes from where he was, 7th to 6th, ahead of Coronel, which actually gets him nothing, because there's no championship points outside the top 5, and it means he's just in a different place in the middle of both grids.
Thompson's going out for another run.
Look at the way that the back started to move around as he...
That's that big dip in the braking area there, isn't it? We went on this morning and found there's so many undulations on the braking areas, where you're turning in as well, right where you don't want it.
He really seems to find it. Yeah, no, this one particularly he really seems to find a lot.
Surface changes as well between the old surface from the old circuit, bits of old road, painted lines, unpainted lines.
Yeah. And Zoe watching as James Thompson is out on track again. Tom Chilton starting to build up to speed here. This is to try and get into the top 10. Gabriele Tarquini is back out. Huff is parked, Montero is parked, Michelitz is parked. They're either in the top 5 and Q3 or they're not. But everybody else is trying to get into the top 10. Except this man. Lopez, fastest second sector. Lopez goes purple again! And Chilton has to stay out of the way of Coronel.
This could be a good lap from Lopez. He's only...
Oh, goodness me! Yeah. Lopez, fastest of all, 1:21.457. So he started the morning with a 22.14. He's now down to a 21.45. So he's gone half a second quicker in the course of 3 sessions.
That's a real piece of class, isn't it? Being able to do that on the last lap when you know all your rivals are sat in the pits and can't do anything about it.
Well, it still means that Nicky Katzberg is in the top 5, as is Rob Huff, Norbert Michelitz and Thiago Montero. Lopez goes to the top of the pile. Tarquini, 12th at the moment. Björk on a quick lap, look at that. 2 tenths away in the first sector, Ted Björk. Björk could put himself into the top 5 at the expense of the only Lada. Tarquini locks up a little behind Muller. Ivan will get out of the way of his former teammate and good buddy. Checkered flag is out. It's last chance saloon. Thompson is in 10th, but Chilton and Tarquini are both on laps. Tarquini's on a quick one. Tomo has not got a green sector to his name yet, and if Tarquini goes quicker, Thompson will be bumped out of the 10. And Tarquini comes along across the line in 11th. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! James Thompson will start as the DHL pole sitter for our opening race in Marrakesh. Goodness me, that was close. 11 hundredths of a second, Gabriele Tarquini behind. Wow. I don't know how Rennie Munich's day is going in the rallycross, but he will be very pleased to hear that bit of news, that his car, his team, and his stand-in driver have claimed the DHL pole for our opening race here. Tomo will start ahead of Ugo Valente.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be quite hard to improve that time, but let's see. Other people can make mistakes as well.
Wise head on young shoulders, young Nicky Catsburg, doesn't he? Not only is he fun to be around and quick as you like in a car, but, okay, it is going to be tough, it's going to be hard to catch them, but they've got to produce the perfect lap as well. So if I can produce the perfect lap, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, and it's so tight that these top five are so close to each other. As you just said there on the radio, somebody else has to make a mistake. That's all it takes, one or two people to make a little minor error or a little judgment mistake, maybe at turn 7 where we've seen it a few times already, then turn 7 or onto the start-finish straight, running over that curb on the exit, that could be the difference. Dave Scott.
Yeah, Scotty is engineer, watching with interest. Well, now this, you know, this is almost as much a key element as any of the corners on the track, is how you get to the start of the flying lap, isn't it? What you've done, how you've brought your tyres in and all of that. And this is all part of the art of driving a front-wheel drive touring car. Yeah,
and that, as we've seen there, you're getting one lap out of your tyres, so all be very mindful not to take too much out on the outlap, but you need to get the pressure and the temperatures back up to where they need to be. Your brake temperatures have to be right. So you're doing all that, concentrating on all that, but also making sure that your brain's in the right place for your one-out hit lap.
So here's Q2 fastest, a 1:22.1. And that will be the target that he is trying to better now. In fact, if he could, a 1:21.457 would be better, because that was the lap set by Jose Maria Lopez. So here we go, he's going to cross the line, single flying lap. And these 5 cars now will decide positions 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the opening race grid, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the main race grid.
Nice and tidy through turn 1 there, obviously late on the brakes, managed to get on the power nice and early as well. You could hear the throttle pick up nice and crisp.
Nice tight line in 3, hugging that white line all the way around 3/4 of the turn. It's pretty much a 180-degree corner. 4. Now, how is he going to ramp it over the curbs here?
That's the other option, isn't it? Not mullering it too hard, but different line to what we've seen the Citroens being able to do and produce.
Well, to get away with that, you have to turn in a little deeper, triangulate the corner a little more. That's corner 7 and 8, these two that sort of tie together. Then a long sweeping right-hander. Remember, we used to have that long, super fast left-hander at the far end of the track. And down what remains of the old back straight, used to carry on for about another half a kilometre. Beyond this was where the second chicane was. And now 11 and 12, it's 5 seconds from the line. 4, 3, 2. Okay, 1:22.161, so just a fraction, fraction slower.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough, looking at those sector times. I think, depending on what rubber everyone else has got left to use, it doesn't seem quite as quick as we've seen in Q2 there.
Rob Huff already out of the pit lane and warming up. You saw Nicky Katzberg pushing on to get back to the pits. He wants to make sure this is a short lap, so you can't be faffing around. He wants to make sure that he is out of the way and safely back in the pit lane before Rob Huff even really gets up to speed and starts his lap if he can. Katzberg is sort of halfway around the lap already, and you do have to get on with it. So Huffy into turn one. See all those different patches and little undulations and bumps all the way through corner one.
Managed to get really nice and close to those tyres, because you can see actually the camber drops off on that green stuff, and you hook the wheel over it, it kind of drags the back of the car around.
Not as quick in sector one as Katzberg yet. Let's see, sector one ends here, and 28.969, 28.854, so 1100s quicker. And the key really to all these laps, obviously, is all three sectors tied together, but sector two is where more drivers have found more time than anywhere else.
Yeah, it's got the most complex sections, hasn't it? There's more to it, it's a bit more technical, a few more bigger stops and changes of direction as well, so it's a longer section, and you've got more to do in that section, so the driver can have a little bit more influence.
So Katzberg's second sector was a 35.866. Huff is 2 tenths up now. 35.709. Doing it the old-fashioned way is his dad. That's how we learn, in the rain. And across the line he comes, 4 tenths up on Katzberg. Goodness me. That is a good lap.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you know, and that throws down the gauntlets for his teammates as well as for Pachito Lopez.
That's about as good as we've got, I'm afraid.
I just heard Rob over the radio there saying that's about as good as we've got. It's a quick lap. It's for these guys to try and beat now, isn't it?
Yep, that is a good lap. So his two teammates will go. Thiago lies second in the points. Don't forget, 5 points for pole here. 4 for the second fastest lap, 3, 2 and 1 for the other guys who go through into Q3.
Thiago's lap was 3 tenths up on Huffy's lap that he's just done though in Q2, so let's see what he's got. Oh, he had to turn into that a little bit early. He made the turn in, and as he dropped into that concrete change, he had to give it a little bit of opposite lock. That will have cost him a little bit of time.
Watch his eyes. I mean, you can see everything else he's doing, but just look at the determination that in these drivers' eyes. This is 100% focus. There's no room for any errors here at all.
Still good first sector there, despite that slight slide.
Yep. 500's quicker. Yeah, but really good run, 7 through 8.
Yeah, it was
no running out wide. He really got that nailed.
Right on the limit.
And corner 10. You can see the guys on the pit wall are the same at you at home and the same as going, oh, look at that.
Look at the 200s up.
This could be very close indeed.
What's he got in sector 3? Oh, he's run on the curb. He's run wide.
Oh, that might be enough for 200s. Huff will stay on top. He does stay on top. Thiago behind Nicky Katzberg. No, he's not second. Sorry, my timing screen is taking a lot longer to update than the one on the telly.
That was literally that final curve, isn't it? He just ran slightly wide. It wasn't a big mistake, but just slightly wide, which is what we said. You know, you can't make these mistakes.
Yeah. Tiny, tiny error.
Look at the disappointment. He'd done all the hard work there as well.
Norbert Michelisz, second fastest in Q2, and he has not been the quickest of the Hondas so far. He's been the second quickest of the Hondas in every session up until Q2. He's quicker than both his teammates, but can he make a neat and tidy lap out of this?
That was more like Huffy's line through turn 1, wasn't it? Montero seems to take it slightly differently. I always behind Michelit, he always looks really relaxed in the car,
Yeah.
more so than the other guys tend to.
Again, kind of just triangulates that off a little bit there in turn 3 as well. See how close you are to the wall as you turn into the chicane. 0.04 of a second behind. And don't forget that's behind Thiago, who set the fastest first sector. Oh, and he actually touched the white lining on that tyre stack. We talk about leaving no room for error. He took the no room for error and a little bit more out of that one.
Good second sector, but will it be enough? I don't think it will.
Faster than anybody else so far.
He's got that slight deficit in sector 1, though, he's got to make up for. But if he can get that right, that exit, did run
Going to be
slightly wide.
very close indeed. Oh, and 36 thousandths behind Huffy from 71 thousandths up.
Couldn't get a lot closer than that, could be for the three.
Now, each of the Honda drivers has got a fastest sector each. Thiago was best in sector 1, Norby best in sector 2, Rob best in sector 3 by 0.2 over Montero and by 0.1 over Michelis. And that's the differences between them.
Here we go. Now we're going to see what Citroen's got left in the tank.
So will Jose Maria Lopez start another main race from pole position? Will he produce yet another inspired lap?
Looks good in turn 1 there, nice and smooth. Again, slight bit of turning oversteer, but we're seeing that with everybody over that bump.
Started on pole in France, started on pole in Hungary for the main race. In Slovakia, it was his own teammate Ivan Muller who went to the Pachito draw of special qualifying laps and grabbed one out. That's in very deep, and he's using an awful lot more curve than he normally does there.
10th up in sector 1, but I don't think that sector 2 is going to be ruined from that, I think.
Well, it's a long sector, sector 2, and that was only the beginning of it. If he can nail 7 and 8 here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Avoiding action there.
He's going to have to find some time from somewhere, I think, because that was a pretty big hit.
He does, doesn't he? He
there as well.
always finds some pace from somewhere. Look at Marshall sticking his head out. Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
Wow, quarter of a second back. He's going to be behind all the Hondas at this rate, unless he finds some magic and sprinkles the Oofle dust on it in the final 2 corners. Oh, and again, it's a little bit ragged. Is he going to be 4th or 3rd or 2nd?
P4.
4th place, 2800s back. It is a Honda 1, 2, 3. Writing that down, that is the first time I'm sure we have seen that. Rob Huff will start the main race as our DHL pole sitter, with 2 teammates riding shotgun / trying to take the win away from him. But, you know, somewhere in there.
Yeah. This is it. He just lost the back on turning there, and look, he's been sublime through there all weekend, hasn't he? Every time we've seen him go through there, we've commented on it time and time again. He's nailed that and got it perfect, but just shows it can happen to even the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost a big chunk there.
Can't always be perfect.
No, but it's exactly like Katzberg said, wasn't it, on his outlap? You know, I need to wait for these guys to make a mistake, and they did, but not quite enough.
Not quite enough. Not quite for Nicky anyway. So, it's almost sort of a shame. Otherwise, Lopez and Muller would have been on the same run in both our 2 races. Because Ivan is 6th for both. I know, 6th and 5th. And Pachito will be 4th and 7th. So there's not much to split the difference there, is there?
Definitely not.
Which means even more pressure for Ivan to get on with it in race 1, because Pachito will only be 1 row behind him.